To the first ever live that's a shoot. It's a very difficult one this week. Actually, do one. There really hasn't been that much news. There was some talk. Pat McAfee made signed a contract with longer with WWE. Logan Paul, he made a contract signing last week. There was some news about Sasha and Naomi. They're not listed on the internal roster. I could have done those, but I was thinking I had to take a week off. I'll come next week and we'll come back with something, right? And then this breaks this morning. Allegations that Vince McMahon has paid 4 women up to the amount of about $12 million in hush money. Once again, from the Wall Street Journal, who broke the original scandal months or so ago that Vince McMahon had an affair and with a paralegal and paid her $4 million $4 million to go away, so to speak. So I'm going to read some things here. The Wall Street Journal does those things where you have to subscribe to it to get the thing. So then I do it. So I'm going to read some articles from a few other websites. Read something here off of Twitter. I got some screenshots of it. What was this from? WrestleOps at WrestleOps has just some screenshots that they took of the story. So I'm gonna read this from you this here. Vince McMahon, World Wrestling Entertainment's Inc.'s longtime leader, agreed to pay more than $1 million over the past 16 years to suppress allegations of misconduct and infidelity, an amount far larger than previously known. The payouts went to 4 women, all formerly affiliated with WWE, who signed agreements with Mr. McMahon that prohibit them from discussing potential legal claims against or their relationships with the 76-year-old executive. According to people familiar with the deals as well, documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. The previous unreported settlements include a $7.5 million pact with who alleged that Mr. McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex, then demoted her, and ultimately declined to renew her contract in 2005 after she resisted further sexual encounters, according to people familiar with the matter. Wrestler and her attorney approached Mr. McMahon in 2018 and negotiated the payment in return for her silence, the people said. In another previously unreported deal, a WWE contractor presented the company with unsolicited nude photos of Mr. McMahon. She reportedly received the photos of Mr. McMahon she reportedly received from him. Received from him and alleged that he had sexually harassed her on the job, according to people familiar with the woman with the woman's 2008 non-disclosure agreement. Mr. McMahon agreed to pay her roughly $1 million, these people said. And in a 2006 agreement, a former manager who had worked 10 years for Mr. McMahon before he allegedly initiated a sexual relationship with her was paid. According to people familiar with the deal, the Journal did about a $3 million hush pact received in January between Mr. McMahon and a former WWE paralegal with whom allegedly had an affair, citing documents and the people familiar with the matter. WWE's board is investigating Mr. McMahon's agreement with the former paralegal and the 2018 deal with the former wrestler. People from inquiry said. So that's the reporting from the Wall Street Journal. Listen, this. There's no way to take it. This is good events. This is not good. As we have seen, allegations of these kind are not taken. that's thrown under the rug, not taken very lightly anymore. Whether innocent or guilty, this doesn't seem very good for Vince, and it doesn't. There's nothing that states that he paid with company money. Um, and I think that's what a lot of um, the first thing that came out months ago. That's what it seemed to be really about. It wasn't the fact that maybe that he had an affair or anything like that. It was the fact that maybe he had, maybe did he pay her with with money, that was from the company. So uh, it's it is what it is. So it's whatever it is, it just happens. I'm checking right now to see what on SmackDown is trending. Okay, I see him is still trending. He's number 5. Other things going on today. So yeah, we got some other things to talk about. I was trying to see anything else that happens. So I don't know. Yeah. So I got some. That's all about Twitter. I got some other things here to read from you. Let's read. Man, 12 to 4 women to suppress sexual misconduct allegations. Tyler Greenwald, she posted this about AM. I don't know if this is whatever. It's good. This is some of the stuff, but hometown CEO of WWE done in June paid 4 women at least $12 million total with patients of sexual misconduct, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. McMahon was also being investigated by WWE's board after it was discovered in April he paid $3 million to cover affair with a former employee. This new McMahon covered up more. So far, here are the 4 settlements McMahon reportedly paid out per the Journal. A $7.5 million and 28 wrestlers who alleged her into giving him oral sex and then demoted her and ultimately declined to renew her contract in 2005 after she resisted further sexual encounters. A roughly $1 payment to a 2008 to a WWE contractor who presented the company with unsolicited nude photos of Ms. McMahon. She reported receiving from him. They took it right from that damn story. And they didn't miss it. She reportedly received from him and alleged that he had sexually harassed her on the job. A $1 million payment in 2006 to a former 10-year WWE manager who alleged Vince McMahon initiated a sexual relationship with her. The $3 million payment in 2022 to the former paralegal who allegedly had an affair with McMahon. The board concluded the relationship between Mr. McMahon and this woman was consensual. The board is also a $1.5 million non-disclosure agreement from 2012 between the same former paralegal and WWE executive John Laurinaitis. McMahon voluntarily stepped down on June 17th following the reports of the investigation as well as the alleged settlement. He also pledged his complete cooperation to the investigation and pledged to accept the findings and outcome of the investigation, whatever there are. In a statement by the company, McMahon's daughter Stephanie McMahon was named chairwoman after serving as the company's chief brand officer as well as a former these same things that said this coming from that Wall Street Journal company. I'll get one here. I'm gonna yeah. So yeah, see, this is the same thing. So I think that's one. And then this one, it's just, yeah, this is the same thing. So what's next? And be frank with you, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's next. Again, whether or not these allegations are true or not, this takes down Vince, I believe. I think this was. I think I may have said this too. After the announcement of the allegations, right? I kind of said that this I think this hurts Vince, but I think what happens now is that Stephanie takes over. Vince is still with the company. He's still on the board of directors. He's still doing the creative, right? Because I thought that all this does is just all this does to Vince is just things down him, but the company still, it puts a black eye on the company, black eye definitely on Vince, but this is not enough to maybe take Vince away. But I think this does. I think this takes Vince away, and also said that the only way Vince, I think, goes away is if companies start to pull out of their deals with WWE, and their television partners put pressure on them. And I think with that, that may not have worked. They may not have, they wouldn't have put pressure on WWE to get rid of Vince for that. But with these allegations, or especially the main one is the one where he is talent to give him oral sex, allegedly. That's the big one. That's the big one, because that is I think that's like even more than sexual. That's the stuff that Harvey Weinstein was being charged with in the Carter for. And if that happened, Vince could be charged. That is true. If the thing is true now, nobody has come out with the Harvey Weinstein thing. There was actresses coming out and saying that this had happened. They were making their voice. This is even though the Wall Street Journal has these accounts, I don't know if they come. They haven't come to the women because the women signed non-disclosure agreement, so they cannot talk about this. They might bring this up, or they could be sued by Vince for the money and everything like that, or WWE or whoever it is. But one would think that with all this coming out now, that puts a horrible look on Vince, that you come out and say this does not, they could come out and say it, and even though they have broken the non-disclosure agreement, still, what's Vince going to do? Make himself look even stupid for coming out and breaking the disclosure agreement? So this might be a time where it's what's the saying about the dam? It's like it's something where like the dam is now cracked and they're getting ready to bust. I don't know. As I'm saying, I don't know, but that's what this feels like. The story back in June that just felt like the ordinary scandal and something like that. But that wouldn't have an effect. This what came out today feels like that it is now the dam is about ready to burst, and all is just one more thing to whoosh have the water just go everywhere, right? And it's incredible. I I'm saying I'm shocked, but I shouldn't be shocked, and not because that is necessarily because of Vince, but it's just because powerful men have shown that this is what they do. They think they can get away with anything, right? If all of this is true, you can look at the NFL with Deshaun Watson and what he has been alleged to have done. 24, counts of sexual misconduct from women, giving massages. Deshaun Watson, a powerful man. And then there's talked about Harvey Weinstein just a second ago, a powerful man in movies. Kevin Spacey, even he is now being, I think he was charged with crimes in England. And this seems like this is what happened with powerful men, and they feel like that that they deserve what they want, right? They want that, and it's just not enough to want it, but they feel like they deserve it, and so it's unreal. So what happens tonight on SmackDown, right? We have SmackDown. This is will be the return of Roman Reigns. Might have seen Brock Lesnar. Who knows? We're supposed to have, the male models doing their. So I just don't know. But we've got. Let's see, what is it? Where I'm at on the East Coast in Charlotte, it's 12:23. And so that means we have 7.5 hours before SmackDown happens. And anything could happen in those 7.5 hours. Right? What if you get to the show and guys like Roman and the Usos and Drew McIntyre and Sheamus and all of those guys say, we're not working tonight with him. We're not working for Vince tonight. Ronda Rousey, I'm not working tonight with Vince. Liv Morgan, the SmackDown champion, not working tonight. And just hear me out if you don't think that could happen. When Vince screwed Mick Foley and many other talent members did not work the next night on Monday night. They didn't. Because they were so upset that Vince would do that to not only one of the boys, but he did it to Brett, a loyal soldier for him for so long. Skipped advances where he would make way more money in WCW to come back and work for the WWF. And Vince did that to Brett. And they were so upset they didn't work out. Just for screwing Brett over. Right? What are they going to do tonight with this? I mean, you would think that, yes, you would think that so many of them wouldn't do that, right? No, Vita, yeah, Foley didn't show up, but no, there was some other people that did not show up that night. I can't remember who it wasn't, but Foley's the main one because obviously Foley was one of the big stars in that era. But there were others, maybe some lesser names that did not show up that night for Raw. I can remember. I have to. I don't remember, but I'd have to go back and like look and figure out who didn't. But yeah, yeah. I do believe like Sean and Hunter were there because they were like the main cogs of of the whole thing. They knew about it, and I think some other people were there as well. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, so if you think about it, if people didn't show up because Vince screwed Brett, you force a woman to give you books and then demote her and fire, What about all the women on the roster? Natalia, Liv, Rhonda, Raquel, Zaya, all the other women. Are they going to show up tonight? You could very well have no roster, no people tonight for tonight's show, and somebody there and apologize to wherever they're at, and say that there's no show tonight because there are no wrestlers. Absolutely. This. I would never say to anybody, Vita, that they shouldn't go out and do their work. I would never say that. You got a job to do. You can things like that. In fact, I don't know. My thing about Sasha and Naomi was that I was upset that they walked out. That on the company just because they didn't feel like doing what they wanted to do. They have a job to do. They contracted to do a job. That's a job to do. But this is totally fine. If you would have told me that Sasha and Naomi walked out because of allegations of him forcing himself upon a woman, I would be totally. I would have no problem with Sasha and Naomi what they did, and I have no problem if any, not only women but any performer tonight, any wrestler tonight, did not show up. I'm telling you, I just don't know what's going to happen. We have 7.5 hours. I don't even. We could have anything. There could be another news break that Vince is not going to show up tonight on SmackDown. There could be a news break that maybe, I'm who knows? We've all about people who, and they haven't named names pretty much below nights. And I'm going to say alleged because of it, but they don't say names, but they have people. There have been alleged stories of guys telling women that they're not sexy enough, they're not pretty enough, they don't want to, the guys in the audience don't want to screw them. They want, they want to play video games with them. And it feels like it's been like that for and maybe it started with the women's revolution. That started to kind of change with them. But even then, we heard like a singer talk about the stories of wanting the women to be just a little bit more sexier, down in NXT 2.0. So you know, yeah, that's what I'm asking Vita. Like, I just don't know what to expect right now. I I, I keep if I'm looking to see if like when they've tweeted anything, or if they've even Okay, so here's something. Sean Ross set up a Fightful. This was posted 20 minutes ago. A WWE source indicated to Fightful Select that Vince McMahon shouted "fuck him" upon returning backstage on June 17th, following the original Wall Street story. A lot more. So on June 17th on SmackDown, he came out and he said the thing, welcome to be here. It's glad to be here. Especially glad to be here with the soda. And I want you to just remember the thing on the stinger. Then, now, forever, and the most important thing, together. And so he did that. He flipped him on and he went backstage. And I guess what Sean is reporting is that when he went backstage, he shouted, "Fuck him." That's to the reports. Things is he yelling "fuck him" tonight? And I have to admit myself, I was having fun with a lot of this, and not because of the seriousness of the allegations or anything like that. One, I wasn't having fun with that. That was a serious subject. I wasn't having fun with it, but I was really having fun with the totally upset at Vince doing this because I was doing. I knew what Vince was doing. He was doing this. All Sean did was he confirmed a "fuck you" to to the Wall Street Journal and to who leaked and whoever leaked this and everything like that. Because I wasn't upset, but I was like joking around, like and chugging, like saying people were so upset and they were so mad, and I was like, well, why? This is who Vince is. This is who Vince is. You knew that. You knew that's what he was going to come out this night, or not the next night, but 2 nights later on Monday Night Raw, and he did that. And next week, John Cena was going to. I thought for a second that they were making this story. They were making this a story, and I thought it was going to lead to maybe Vince being "fu," or something, Cena, where Vince would be off television for good again. I thought this leading up to something where Vince would get been on television, right? Since he came out the next week and introduced John Cena, but he's been on since. So we'll see what happens tonight. Rita, it'll be really interesting. I am waiting to see. I'm waiting what happens. Because again, I keep saying it. We have 7.5 hours until and this comes on, and I'm waiting to hear what happens more. What more stuff? There's gonna be more stories that come out. I'm still waiting for wrestler to tweet something, to say something. And and I can't wait because see, I just boy, and I'm waiting what the wrestlers, do the wrestlers think. As you said, Vita, he's done for. I think he's done for. I think that there's possibility that he is. I also think there's a small percentage. I think that 85% tells me that he. I think there's a 15% that he isn't, and I think that's because he's Vince, and Vince for most of his career has been Teflon, right? You about the steroid story. You think about some other stories. One of the things that came back up when the other story hit was the allegations that he raped the first female referee back in the 80s. That came back up, and nothing happened to him back in '86. Now I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't hear about that. Obviously, back in the '80s, I was 86. I was 4, so I didn't hear anything about it. But it's I was actually before I got live, I was watching the Wrestle Talk live. A lot of people were saying Vince and Trump are connected, and they're just like him. And in some ways they are right. Vince and Trump are the same thing. These are two egomaniacs who have thrived in their business, and they think that they have done nothing wrong. They think they have done nothing wrong, and the truth. Donald Trump wanted to become president. And there's still a small part of me that thinks that and there because in 2016 there was a meme going out there where and it's been redunked or rebunked. Excuse me, this was not the case, but there was a meme going around from where Trump was on Donahue back in the Phil Donahue talk show back in the 80s or early 90s, and he came on and he talked about how Republicans were like the dumbest people in the world, and if he was going to run for office, he would run as Republican because they would believe any shit that he told them. And it proved to be not true. He never went on Donahue and said that. But there was a feeling that the reason why he ran as a Republican, that he liked the Republican Party would be more easy to control. And look what's happened. I mean, this, people have said that the Republicans become the party of Trump, and not Republicans, And with Vince, there seems like that way. This is the Jim Cornette, and Jim has said on many of occasions, Vince has the ability to get you to do anything. He can do anything. He put that hand on your shoulder and he say, brother, this is how it's supposed to go. And and this is what I do. And you say, no, Vince, I don't know about it, Vince. And he say, well, come on now, this is what we do. We're in the entertainment business. This is going to be and all of a sudden you're doing this silly shit that he asked you to do. And he had that power over you. And that probably went to this thing as well. If you the wrestlers to do these crazy things, these stupid things, go in these outrageous costumes, whatever, be this crazy character that they didn't want to do, like Terry Taylor. He went meet Terry Taylor, put a damn thing on his head and become the Red Rooster. If he could do that, then why would he think he could force a woman upon himself to give him oral sex? I just it's crazy, and maybe I'll end it with this. I guess I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Vince because of what he's done. In my years, giving me close to 35 years of entertainment in wrestling. Given 35 years in wrestling, and I can never thank him enough for that. If these things end him in his time in the wrestling business, in his time with WWE, I'm not gonna sit up here and say that's a good thing, but I'm not also gonna sit up here and say that he shouldn't be gone. I'm also not gonna say that either. This reminds me of the speaking out movement that happened. Was that the COVID year, or was that 2019? No, it was the COVID year because I was down here in Chicago, not Chicago. I was down here in Charlotte. 2019, I was back in Chicago, and there was no. So it was the COVID year. It was 2020 when the speaking out movement went out, and so and I thought about it, and I was just it was amazing the stuff that kept coming out and coming out and coming out. And Vita, you just said it. You think there's going to be more? I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if there's more to come from this thing. I would not be shocked. Yeah. So I think I got everything out I wanted to say. I'm gonna be watching tonight on SmackDown. See what happens. If something breaks, I may or may not break in with another video. It all depends on it all depends on what the breaking situation is and consequences that come from that as well. So, but this could be the next 4 days could be amazing, and I mean amazing in a way that these could be things that you have never seen before, that you never heard before. The stories that could break over this time from now until Monday Night Raw on the 11th could be unreal. So, all right, y'all. Thanks for Vita jumping in the chat. I appreciate it. Thanks for giving your thoughts on it. Also, if you're watching this on playback, post them down in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys think, tell me how you guys feel about this. Click that notification bell because I will. Like I said, I could come back on live if anything else breaks down, if anything else happens over the next 7.5 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, 36 hours. At any time. I mean, there's more. If something else happens, it could be incredible. Yeah, you take care too, Vita. I appreciate you stopping by. Well, we'll see what happens next. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Please be good to each other. Be careful out there. I'm out.